Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're here with David Rogers. A little later in the show, we're going to be talking about a new, well, not so new. It's been around for a while, but I guess things are starting to get kind of ramped up with synthetic marijuana, K2. It's known by some other names, and Doc is going to talk a little bit about that here at the end of the show. But for now, we've got David Rogers with us tonight. So Dave, what is your official capacity with Democracy Matters?
Well, I'm the Iowa State Director of the Democracy Matters issue advocacy campaign here in Iowa. So they had never really come out this far west to establish any college organizations, and so that combined with the fact that it's caucus year, and the wise and well enough funded nonprofits that have issue advocacy elements to them usually come out to Iowa during caucus time. There's any number of them, and so they decided that this time they were going to try that, and also at the same time we could plant some new organizations on campuses around the state. So I've been doing kind of working both sides of that street. Planning some organizations. I've got 6 colleges here in the state now.
Sure.
Iowa State, Drake, DMAC, Grinnell, UNI, and working on St. Ambrose, working on Simpson, and maybe Luther and a couple other ones as we move along. But we'll get them going. And the kids that are the leaders in those organizations for us are paid interns. We give a nice stipend to them and bring them to our annual meeting, a big summit for all the paid interns in Albany, New York every year, and have great speakers there and for a weekend and help them pay expenses when they have events and want to bring speakers in and that kind of thing. So they put in 10 hours a week, and they really do a lot of really good work. They register voters, they're on campus, and develop a lot of awareness for the issue of campaign finance reform, which, as you guys probably know, is becoming more and more in the public eye this campaign season already. Candidates on both sides of the spectrum are talking about that.
So are you finding much reception here in Iowa? This is some of the first time the organization's been out here?
Yeah, very much so. Real positive response. It seems to be just on everybody's mind. We go to, it doesn't matter if we go to a Bernie Sanders event or if we go to a Bobby Jindal event or Mike Huckabee or even Jeb Bush. There's always people that say, oh yeah, that's a big problem. We need to do something about that. Good for you guys,
So now I remember as far back as 2008 that there was a little bit of a dust up during the primary season between, amongst the, I shouldn't say between anybody, but amongst the candidates, where I believe both John McCain and Barack Obama, once they became the nominees, sort of agreed that they would have a publicly financed election, and then they both backed out of it. Because why would you? And so campaign finance was a thing back in 2008, but it sort of died on the vine as soon as the general election kind of started up. What is different now, do you think, as opposed to 2008? And 2012, same sort of deal. It kind of popped up during the initial run, but the minute that the nominees are defined, it seems like the donors line up behind them and we're off to the races.
Right. Yeah, it's actually interesting. This year, it seems as though there's just a really heightened recognition among more voters that frankly that it seems as though there is that the Congress is bought. That's no other way I can put it. That most of the donors that donate to campaigns are large donors, and that the PAC money is out of control. I mean, here in Iowa 2 years ago, it was 4 times the record amount was spent from outside money in this state, and there's a lot of people here that feel that actually reduced the amount of vote because people just got so burnt out and irritated at constantly seeing ads on television, hearing them on the radio, getting mailers all the time from outside groups that were telling them what they ought to be thinking and doing, and Iowans don't really cotton to that much. So it just seems as though there's you know, I hate to use this sort of trite term, but it's kind of like at a tipping point in a way, you know, that more and more voters are coming to a place where they're just getting angry about it, and they realize that what they want, no matter what their party is, no matter what their issue is, that if it isn't happening, that they can follow the trail of money right back and understand why it isn't happening. You know, from the Republican side, a lot of people are concerned about just grotesque levels of federal spending. And there's a lot of grotesque federal spending that goes on that is in return for campaign contributions from industry, corporate giants, and individuals who have a vested interest in continuing, you know, weapons systems or continuing programs that nobody really wants anymore. And you know, from the left, they can look at it and see that you know, that the sort of interests of the few wealthy are being very well represented in Congress, and that the individual interests maybe aren't being so well represented. So anybody can kind of look and say, gosh, it seems as though there's a problem here. And the problem seems to be that you representatives that we voted in are not representing us. You're representing those few people who gave you and give you a tremendous amount of money. And that's the voice that they're hearing, is the voice of the cash, not the voice of the people.
Now, Democracy Matters, we took I'm looking at your website right now, and seems like it's a rather left-leaning kind of thing. Is that how you would characterize it, or no?
I don't think so. You know, it's funny. I mean, we are, as I said, we're kind of obsessively nonpartisan. We don't make any endorsements or
you bet.
Anything like that. We simply say, if whatever candidate likes us, we like them. You know, we seek their support. We don't.
So do you ever give to candidates? Does Democracy Matter ever give to candidates?
Oh, no, not at all. No,
not at all?
Not at all.
Right.
That's we're a 501c3. That's not done. So, you know, the interesting thing about this issue is that it has been portrayed in the mainstream corporate media as the only people that want campaign finance reform are kind of lefties, you know, because they are the ones that are at a disadvantage, so to speak, for the way things are now, because most of the rich guys are giving to the Republicans. Well, you know, the reality is that's not true. The rich guys, like Donald Trump said in the debate the other night, I give to everybody. You know, yeah. He gives to everyone who asks, because he knows that in 2 or 3 years when he needs them, he can go get them and tell them what he needs, and they'll give it to him because he gave.
Wow. A mention of Donald Trump. I'm telling you, you cannot get away from that guy. Even on our show. And I think we spent like a half hour on him the last time. Yeah, and I'm done. Anyway, he's done more stuff. We could have another whole show about it. Anyway, we're going to be back with David Rogers, who you're a director of?
I'm the state coordinator.
State coordinator. Here in Iowa?
Here in Iowa. I run the state.
For Democracy Matters. And it looks like we're going to have an interesting conversation. We'll be back right after this break. I'm going to be asking David some pretty tough questions. Stay tuned, find out what they'll be, and see how hard I can make this guy squirm.